Chapter 6. Nathan's Story. The vicious storm let up enough for the three of them to reach Savunga. Then it renewed with greater fury. The travelers were glad to get to this village, perched on a crest of land jutting out into the sea. Nathan Nungwak smiled and greeted his old friend. He and grandfather had often hunted together, and through the years they had formed a deep and respectful friendship. Grandfather shared with Nathan's family the food and presents he had brought. Then the men sat and talked. Yuki listened quietly. Like all children of the Eskimo culture, he held a great respect for his elders. "I thank you for the food," Nathan said. "Our villagers are very hungry because we've had poor hunting this winter." As they talked, Grandfather told Nathan about the Campbells. "I have learned to believe in the Creator God," he added, then told about the artifact Yuki had discovered in the ancient village mounds. "I have come, Nathan, because I respect you and I know you believe in the Creator God." The room was still, except for the moaning of the wind outside and the sound of hard snow pellets beating against the walls. Nathan began to tell his own story. "When I was young," he said quietly, "I came down with the white man's disease called tuberculosis. The men on the supply ship told me I was going to die, so they took me with them. After many weeks, we arrived in a huge village called Seattle. There were many people there. They put me in a large house called a sanitarium. It was a very lonesome place, and I longed for my home and my people. While I was there, I listened to the radio every day. There was a man by the name of HMS Richards who talked in a program called The Voice of Prophecy. I learned about the Creator God from him." Nathan paused, then continued, choosing his words carefully. "As I lay on my bed in the hospital, I promised God that if he would heal me and bring me back to my village, I would be faithful to serve him, and I would keep his holy day, the seventh day. From that time, I began to get better. The doctors were amazed. I was healed in a short time, and I came back here to my village. But my people didn't respect my belief. It has been hard, but my Creator God has blessed me and kept me." Nathan's story amazed Yuki. He remembered his own two experience in praying to the Creator God and the answers to his prayers. Thoughts about Rabat the shaman also raced through his mind. Was the Creator God greater than Rabat in his powers? He listened as Nathan continued. "The God you are seeking is my God also. He has shown himself to me. I cannot read or write, but the Creator God has shown himself to me in many ways. He has sent dreams to Jeanette, my wife. He will show himself to you also. That's all I have to say." The storm raged for 4 days, and Nathan shared his small provisions with his guests. Yuki noticed that Nathan's family was taking smaller and smaller amounts of food. He did the same even though he was still hungry. Finally the wind died down, allowing the hunters of the village to swarm over the ice in search of walrus and seal. But it was the Sabbath day, and Nathan stayed in his home. "I will not hunt on the Sabbath day," he stated quietly, but with certainty. By the end of the day, the storm renewed with more fury than before. Yuki stood outside, watching the hunters hurrying home with just one small seal to show for their entire day of hunting. According to their custom, they freely shared with the villagers, but no one would share with the Nungwak family. "You are a foolish man," the men said to Nathan. "Ask your Creator God to give you food." That night, Yuki lay and listened to the two older men talk. His stomach gnawed with hunger, but the gnawing in his heart was even greater. The question kept running through his mind. Where was the Creator God now, when the family needed food so badly? The next day, Nathan put on his parka and the outer covering made of walrus stomach and intestines. "Where are you going, Nathan?" Grandfather asked. "I'm going down to the shore ice," Nathan replied. "I will see if the Creator God has something for me." "I'll come with you," Grandfather said, picking up his harpoon. Yuki scrambled to put on his parka. Grandfather glanced at him. "You can come, but you must stay close to me. It is very bad out there." The three struggled against the gale force winds and stinging snow as they headed toward the shore ice. Suddenly, Nathan dropped flat on the snow. "Walrus!" he whispered. Yuki peered into the thick storm. At first, the whole world appeared white. Squinting against the stinging snow, he looked again. There he saw the outline of a huge walrus. A walrus can weigh as much as 3,000 pounds, lying by a crack in the ice. Silently, carefully, Nathan inched his way along the ice. Then, with a powerful thrust of his harpoon, he speared the walrus. It died instantly, but began to slip over the edge of the ice into the open water. Although Grandfather and Yuki leaped to help, the walrus was so huge it continued to slowly sink into the water. "Creator God, help me!" Nathan shouted into the wind. At that very moment, the crack in the ice began to slowly close. Normally, when a crack comes together, it does so with tremendous pressure that can push one edge of the ice high into the air. Within seconds, it had gently pinched the dead walrus between the two edges of the ice. Quickly, Nathan and Grandfather whipped out their knives and began to cut large pieces of walrus blubber and meat, throwing them back onto the solid ice, where Yuki gathered them together. When they had collected several hundred pounds of meat, the ice slowly opened again, and the walrus sank into the frigid depths. It took several hours to haul the meat back to the village. Hunters came to help, and Nathan freely gave much of the meat to others. Yuki was shocked. After the way they had treated Nathan, why would he want to share the rest with the rest of the village?